Okay, so today's video, I'm on a new job. It's going to be a new project, so I'm going to be filming this over the next series, a couple of weeks. So seeing how we progress on this bad boy. So it's a new site, I don't know where anything is, and it's a complete nightmare trying to navigate a way around. But today, I'm going to tell you what happens when you break the rules in plastering and show you some new processes and how to get better results. Let's check it out. We're going to be starting in this room here. Lights up. But big problem.
Wait for the electrician to fit these.
He's not been yet, so we can only plaster the walls. So for anyone who's saying should start sealing first, I can't. Get a mix on, see what we get done. I just realised I don't even know where water is, so I don't know how to get that. Bloody dropped a bit. So we finally got set up. Now we're quite far behind, so what I'm going to do is start in this room. Obviously can't do the ceilings, but I'm going to mix a big batch up, do 2 coats with the same batch. Now the reason is it takes so long just to set up on a job, like finding power, getting the water, getting your tools up. So you waste so much time in the morning just getting started. So like I said, we're going to get a big hit on, but just do 2 coats in one. And we're going to talk about whether that's faster or not. Okay, so we're going to get as much plaster on as we can. Not done the thickest mix in the world. It's actually slightly runny to give me a bit more time, but start in the top left corner and just whack it on. Now, I got into trouble last week on one of my videos because I was starting at the bottom. Now, to me, I can just start anywhere. Start at the bottom, start at the top. But I do actually prefer to start from the bottom, get as high up as you can, and I'll tell you in a bit why that might potentially save some time. So I know traditionally you should be starting at the top, but to be honest, as long as you're getting the plaster on the wall and it comes out looking nice at the end, then what's the problem? But still, I suppose we've got to respect the old ways, because it sounded like he was a man of the trade, and he does know this stuff, this guy. I've heard a few comments and he does know how to plaster, so I will respect it, but I will explain later on in this video why it might be a bit faster. So we're just plastering it on, really, getting on as fast as you can. And what I'm going to do is just quickly flatten vertically the section I've just put on, get it as flat as possible, because what we don't want to be doing is getting to the point where it might be drying and the wall's not flat. So we are going to apply it as fast and as flat as we can. So nice vertical strokes now. Now the ceiling height is only 2.2 meters, so we're going to get a lot of it. Oh, there's a little stone there. A lot of it from the floor. Even for a short ass like me, which is good. So we're coming all the way up. Just keep the mix close to you. It's just so much easier when you're loading up. And then obviously we get so much height there, which is quite an advantage to us. Now around sockets, I tend not to just go over them, like try and stop where the sockets are, stop above and below, because there's nothing worse than trying to empty them afterwards. I just like to keep them clean as we're going, really. I know some plasterers just obliterate them, but I try and keep respect to the other trades, so in and around the sockets, that's good for me there. So we get that bottom bit. someone said you've got to be very fast to be applying both coats with one mix. Now, you do and you don't, because you are saving time in the mixing process, you're saving time in the cleaning process. You are going to save a bit of time, and it's going to give you a bit more time because you're not spending that time mixing and cleaning up your tools. It's going to give you a bit more time in the long run to get your plaster on the wall and give you a bit more workability. So it is and it isn't. I definitely don't recommend doing it if you are new to plastering. 2 coats all the way. Now, I am coming as high as I can, and that's important. That's because I'm going to come back to the other comment. So just get these walls on. Now this is how you can save time. So I'm going to load my hawk up. Now see how far across we can get without jumping down off the hop up. So it's not even a full hawk. We're coming up, starting along the top. Now I've only got a little section to fill. Because I've come so high with my first pass, still got a decent amount on my hawk. Come across, come up. Now what's happening is this plaster's going a lot further because I've not got as much to put on. Now the reason that's good, if I'm coming up and down, jumping off the hop up, filling up my hawk, jumping up and down, coming off my hop up, filling my hawk, I'm wasting a lot more time than if I was at the bottom refilling. Because I'm at the top, I've still not filled up my hawk, still using the same amount. You can save a lot more time by doing it this way. So that's why I do it. Now that's the first coat on. I'm going to give it a rapid speed skim. Again, these are great for time. Just flatten your wall and give you that reassurance that you've got most of it done. So starting at top left, going all the way to the other side, coming all the way through, all the way, and then start at the other end you've started on, come through again, reaching as far to the bottom as you can. You want to get the bottoms because this is where you'll get your slugs, this is where your trails will come through. It's not good for the carpenters. Then we're going to come up, come all the way up, trying to fill the bottoms as you go. So if the bottoms are a bit high, use your speed skim to fill the plaster. And all the way up. Now that's that wall flattened. We're going to do the same on this side. Then I'm going to use the same mix put on directly. Still got a fair bit left, and we've still got a bit of workability. But I'm just going to leave the tools, not even going to clean them. I know they look hanging, but it'll be all good. We're just going to get straight onto it and get it applied straight away. Now we're nearly there, but admittedly the mix is getting a bit thicker, but still workable. So the only thing I like to do as well is not flood the internal corners, so make sure I'm not ploughing the plaster in there whilst I'm rushing. Still want to take my time with the internals. Still want to make sure they're pretty square, clean. You know, they'll need work, but at least I'm trying to keep them on top and maintain from the get-go, rather than just rushing and panicking. You've really got to keep you cool. But I mean, again, we've got loads of time in the mix. I'm just saying, if you're not used to this method, don't start scrimping on the process. Now come up on the internal there as well. Make sure that internal's nice and square. The rest of it's pretty simple now, we just keep applying. But again, there's time saved with we're not mixing the second coat, cleaning the buckets, the tools. We have saved a significant amount of time there. And it has made the job a bit easier, even though you might be rushing to get this coat on. At least it's getting on in a way that's efficient. What do you think this little slug is? Look at that screw, well far. on that one. You can tell someone's missed on the collated gun. The worst thing is I left my drills downstairs, so it's a right pain in the arse, isn't it? There's the last patch. Last patch here. Yeah, that's it. The second coat's applied. Now, I haven't got much left to be fair, but what I like to do is just leave the reveals. So the leftovers, we've got a tiny bit in the bucket. I'm just gonna start throwing some reveals on. Now, it just means you chip through the reveals slowly, and it means that you're not wasting too much of your plaster. It's easy to waste plaster, but if you leave your reveals, there's always something you can throw on. That's it, 2 coats applied, wall's done. We've got a tiny bit of mix left in the bucket, and we've got the walls on, what we need to get. So now it's pretty straightforward, that's a hard bit done. We've got the plaster on, so just gonna follow through. If I carry on in the afternoon and try and get the rest of these walls on. I've just cleaned up, everything's ready, so now I'm gonna flatten. But the good thing is, you've still got loads of time. The plaster's still quite wet. You know, I'm not using any water. And you still get a lot of play out of it. You know, I'd struggle to do this constant trowel if the plaster was quite hard, but there's still a lot of play, so don't worry that, you know, it's going to be too hard when you're doing it this way, because it's not. It's like anything, isn't it? If you put it on at a decent pace, you're going to come out the other side with lots of time. So I think it's pretty good. Okay, so that's it. Obviously I broke a few rules in this video and now I've obviously paved the way to doing something new, but the whole point of this was don't be scared to try something new, and just because you got taught something when you were a kid or by when you were learning, it doesn't mean it's always going to be the only way you can plaster. There's loads of ways and there's many ways to skin a cat. So this idea was to hopefully make you experiment and just try new things, because this will make you a better plasterer in the long run. Now if you like this video, please subscribe, but if you want to learn the essential skills on how to get better at plastering, click the video showing up now, because that will make you better, I promise.